Make sure you pay attention to the screen, okay? Always pay attention to the screen. So before I even get into today's video and really take a deep dive into it, I do want to say that I enjoy the cover and I appreciate the cover for the art that it is. And I also do see the issues, and I do think our main critique of this cover should be that the women who are this dark are not even on this cover, nor were they included, and we haven't heard their voices yet. We don't know what their response is to this cover, and I don't think it's fair for anyone to tell women who are actually this dark that they shouldn't be upset about this cover.
So, y'all are starting to get on my nerves not being able to differentiate between Sudan and South Sudan. So I thought let's break it down for a little clarity. Sudan gained its independence on the 1st of January, 1956. South Sudan gained its independence from Sudan on July 9th, 2011. The president of South Sudan is Salva Kiir Mayardit. The president of Sudan, I'll just go ahead and say Dazolbas. The people of South Sudan are South Sudanese. The people of Sudan are Sudanese. The two countries have two different maps, two different flags, two different national anthems. So excuse me if I'm confused as to why you're still confusing the two. It's kalam farik at this point, okay?
Make sure you're paying attention to the screen because I will be displaying tweets on the screen and I will not be reading aloud every single tweet on the screen. So please make sure you are paying attention to the screen. Thank you. There is no right or wrong way to feel about this cover if you ask me. Like I said at the top of this video, I do appreciate the cover. I do like the cover. I do enjoy the cover. I actually think it's a good cover. Would I go so far to call it revolutionary? No, absolutely not. Would I say it is different and refreshing? Yes, I absolutely would. Now, I don't think that it is fair to only appreciate this cover for the art that it is and to try to ignore or even downplay any of the valid critique that it is receiving. But I also don't think it's fair to only want to critique this cover and to pretend that it isn't actually something very aesthetically pleasing to look at. Because if that's what you're trying to say, well then, babes, you're lying to yourself. The cover looks good. The girls look good. It's nice. It's different. It's something exciting. Gosh, like it truly is something exciting. But we can still critique it, and we can critique it because we love Black women. We're not critiquing it because we are upset or angry at these Black women. Not even because we're angry or upset at the artist and the photographer and the team involved or even British Vogue. It's just that sometimes we start to repeat these cycles just in society, not even just in fashion, where we want to push things as revolutionary. But even after people keep telling us, hey, we don't feel like it's revolutionary, like the people that it's actually affecting, we don't feel like this is revolutionary. When they start to say that, we go, oh, but shut up, it's art. You don't understand it. And listen, everything can't hide under the guise of art. We can appreciate the art that is in it. We can appreciate the art that is this cover, but we're not going to pretend that just because it's pretty, there aren't things uncomfortable about it. And I'm not talking about, oh, well, people are just uncomfortable with seeing Black women and Black models be solemn because we're so used to Black models always being happy and in bright colors and joyful. And that within itself is, a mode of shucking and jiving. Yeah, that's valid criticism as well. And although I will say, yeah, that's probably some of the reasons that some of us are very uncomfortable with this cover, that shouldn't be the main critique. And I also don't think it's the main critique. I think people are trying to gaslight others and make them feel like, oh, y'all just don't get fashion. Y'all just don't get art. The girls who get it. And the girls that don't. So if you don't get it, you're just not an art girly, a fashion girly. No, it's those of us who are actually this dark skin who are going, hey, how come anytime y'all actually want somebody this dark, y'all don't ever really go cast and book the girls that are this dark? Y'all go and get the girls who are dark enough, and then darken them through quote unquote artistic choices and purposeful and intentional lighting and makeup and wardrobe design and set design and blah, 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 and blah, 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 right? Yeah, just go cast the girls that are this dark. Like what's What's the problem here? So here's the thing. There are black women, there are Sudanese women, there are South Sudanese women who are actually as dark as the models are made to appear on the cover. You know, in their get ready video, where you see them getting ready to do this shoot, none of these models, right, appear as dark as they do on this cover. Yet women as dark as they are made to appear on the cover do exist in real life. And yes, some of them are models, yet they are not on covers. And yes, some of them are Sudanese and South Sudanese, and they're not on the cover. Now, understand though that this is a cover featuring, right, the models who are pretty much taking the fashion industry by storm, right? These are the arguably most popular models of the time right now, most popular African models of the time right now. And the Sudanese and South Sudanese model has been having a moment, right? Especially the women. Those models have been having a moment. They've been having a run. The industry is celebrating them. So I do think that the cover should be read as something that is celebration. Now, yes, we also understand that the photographer behind the shoot, artist, we should really be saying, behind the shoot has done similar shoots before. This is their artistry, right? I get it. I understand that. And like I said, I still think the cover is beautiful, but the cover being beautiful and a gorgeous piece of art doesn't mean it's, devoid of any problems. Now, I've seen some takes on Twitter that I feel like it's one of two things. You're either going to appreciate the cover for the art that it is, but only the art that it is, and you are not going to pay attention to the very valid critiques of it, or you are going to only have very extreme criticism for it, and you are not going to appreciate it at all for the art that it is. Now, it is time for us to, understand that the black model is evolving. The black model gets to do other things. And yeah, there kind of is this idea that black models really should only be brightly lit in very colorful clothing and should be happy and smiling and really shucking and jiving anytime that they are on a cover or in a shoot, because anything opposite of that just has to be read as bad, right? It just has to be read as bad, not good, disappointing, etc., etc., etc. Now, I'm not going to sit here, I'm saying? I'm not going to sit here and say I am a fashion scholar, but trends are trends, and you would think after all this time we'd be noticing them. If you take a look at what a cover model, a black cover model, had to look like, what she looked like on a cover, the trend was she had to be happy and smiling, not to scare the white folks. The trend was she was in bright clothing. She was brightly lit, sometimes to the point where she got washed out, right? They had to make you look so bright and happy and, lighter skin. But mostly it was just that, not trying to cast any shadows, because, right, shadows create contour, and contour can create harshness and not softness. So it can make you look, right? It can harden you. And if it's hardening you, it's not softening you. But if it's not softening you, it's making you threatening. And that was like one of the last things the industry wanted, right? To make these black models seem threatening when, people are just starting to get used to black models, especially being on the cover of things. And so, okay, maybe we don't use the word revolutionary, but it's different. At the end of the day, right, I hope we can we admit that the cover is different? It's different. Black models don't get to look like this on covers. And this is our point. I can understand why you want to say, well, that's a revolutionary thing. And it's like, yeah, okay, black models don't get to look like this on covers. And now the black models that they are, quote unquote, allowing to look like this on cover don't even look like that. Like, damn, y'all. It's like you trying to give us something, but still remind us who gets to control this BS, right? So I don't think that looking at this cover and taking it only for art and the art that it is fair to the cover. I also don't think it's fair to the cover to just critique it for the issues that are there. I think you need to see both ways. You know, you need to see it both ways. But I don't, here's the thing. Black models have limitations that have been put on them, you know, for eons. People said that black models are not going to sell covers. People said black models don't even belong on magazine covers. So it is nice, and it's always refreshing for me, at least, to see black models on covers, even more so when they are dark-skinned black models. But I just feel like, especially for those of us who are not dark-skinned, I'm dark-skinned, but for those of us who are not dark-skinned, you know, I don't think it's fair to tell the women who are dark-skinned, to tell people who are dark-skinned, especially those of us who are as dark as they made these models appear through artistic, you know, choice and intentional lighting. And that's another thing, too. Like, okay, like I said, I can take it for the art that it is. It's beautiful, but I can say, even with it being beautiful, I still don't think it's fair that those of us who are dark, without the need of intentional lighting and contouring and shading and possibly makeup, you know, don't get to be on covers. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are women that dark. There are models that dark who are Sudanese, who are South Sudanese, and they're not on the cover. And that's the issue. I think all the other critiques are just kind of like, people just want to have discourse. You know, people just want to have discourse. They just want to talk. They just want to chat. They just want to chat. But outside of all of that, I think and now this is me, it's my personal opinion, you can not agree with me, but I think the true fair analysis, and like the fair pushback to this is, there are women who are this dark, there are models who are this dark, and if this is the look that you wanted for your cover, then you should have booked those models. You get what I'm saying? If this is the look you wanted for your cover, if this was the artistic direction that you were going in, if this is good for the art, good for the contrast, well, then go with those models. Don't choose some other models who are dark-skinned, yes, but make them darker through artistic choice and purposeful lighting, when that's not necessary because people actually exist to look like this, right? I think trying to skip over that critique is very telling. Like, babes, I'm not saying the cover is not good. I'm not saying the cover is terrible. I'm not even saying the lighting is bad. I don't think the lighting is bad. I think the lighting is achieving exactly what they wanted it to achieve. So I don't see a problem with the lighting there at all. Yes, I do agree that, especially the models they made to look very, very, very dark. I don't like the term people are using, charcoal black. I don't like it. I don't care if it is. I don't like that. But the models who they have made appear like very, very, very dark skin. Yes, they are all kind of blending and melding into each other, seemingly as if they are all just kind of one face, one person, one body of one sound. And again, now the critique that's against that, I don't really get, because I'm like, well, there's Sudanese and South Sudanese models. And although Sudan and South Sudan are two separate countries, you know, they are still all of one land, Africa, right? And then of a shared, you know what I'm saying? Shared borders, Sudan and South Sudan. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, y'all, now sometimes critique is a little you just want discourse, because it's like, I think they're supposed to all kind of be blending each other, looking like one at the end of the day, although you might be from this side or that side of the continent, right? This side or that side of the border or of the land. We are all still what? We are all still Africans. We are also just all still models. We are also just all still black models. We are also just all still women. We are really still all just one. You know, we are just one, having multiple experiences, you know, through the different limbs, which is these 9 models, right? They're different limbs, but at the end of the day, we are just one. So I actually really like that. I find that beautiful. But you see what I'm saying? That's art. That's interpretation. That's how I'm choosing to read it. But I personally find that very, very beautiful. I think that's a really gorgeous choice. And so I like that. I don't have any problems with that. That right there to me is gorgeous. But I just wanted to give a little quick little boom, boom, bow 2 cents on this cover because it is receiving some criticism that I think we just want to be angry sometimes. And I don't get it. I don't think everything requires anger for response. I'm here for the criticism. I'm here for the true criticism. I'm going to keep saying it. I know I've said it 10 times in a video, but it's because I really want you guys to get this through your head. There are women that are this dark. Okay, there are women that are this dark from the countries that these women are from, and they are not on the cover. And if it was going to be your artistic choice as a photographer and as an artist to make this sort of contrast and to make this sort of statement, if you so truly needed them to be that dark, you absolutely could have you absolutely could have casted women who are naturally that dark and just lit them properly. And honestly have gotten the same result in terms of art. Now, in terms of impact, right? In terms of fame, in terms of reach, it had to be right. These women, because these particular women are very, very popular right now. They're very, very famous right now. They are huge names in the fashion industry. And the story, right, the editorial is about these women and their journey as Sudanese, South Sudanese, African models. So, okay, it's these women. Cool. But again, if this is your artistic choice, then cast women who look like that for the artistic choice or include them. Okay? Include them. But if not, then yeah, I guess poo-hoo-hoo is me, the art critic. But, listen, babes, if they're not that dark, they're not that dark. So you need to find a new artistic choice. Because I don't think it's okay. But that's me. That's my personal choice. You know what I'm saying? Vogue ain't hiring me to take the photographs. But also, I don't want to be a photographer. So I don't feel no ways about it. But that's how I'm reading it. I just think that, the criticism is kind of really all over the place right now. But Black models do need to evolve. And not by their own talent or anything like that. Black models are not, at the forefront. No, we always been the best there ever is, period, poos. But we as society, we as Black people need to start letting our models evolve. I know that sometimes when we get that focus on the extra dark skin, statuesque type look, it does come off a little because it's well, damn, are we always going to just be these statues frozen and having to be exceptionally dark or exceptionally skinny? And it's I get it. Okay, if you're Black, you always have to be exceptionally whatever the fuck, because if you're not, then basic, mediocre, regular Black. No, you must be an amazing Black or super Black, right? In order to achieve X goal. And I guess in a way you could say this cover demonstrated that, right? Because these women are beautiful on their own. They didn't need to be darkened by way of editing and lighting and shading and artistic choice. They didn't need any of that. It's just what the artist wanted, I guess. And the goal of art, right, I think that's what they say, is to start conversation. And so we are all having conversation. I just want to make sure our conversation is focused on what the issue really is, and not just kind of nitpicky little things. Because I think trying to come for the makeup and I'm no, y'all. The makeup and the lighting did what it was supposed to do. I think the issue is, do we like what it achieved? It did what it was supposed to do. It achieved what they wanted it to achieve, but do we like that? You know what I'm saying? Do we like the fact that these artistic choices achieved making these models who are not this dark look this dark, when there are models who are this dark who could have been casted for this as well? But if it was coming down to the star power, this and the third, I just talked about that, so you know where I'm going with this. We get the point. It gotta be the name. We gotta be the name to get the draw. So we get that. But then it's okay, so then come up with a new concept. Come up with a concept that highlights their skin tones and all of their undertones and all of their features. Let's do that instead of what was done. But I still can appreciate the art of it all. And if you want to say, oh, I'm contradicting myself, babes, I'm a human. It's kind of our thing. Let me know your thoughts though. How do you guys feel about the Vogue cover? Where you guys heading with this? What are your thoughts? Is the Black model evolving? Do we feel like we're taking 10 steps back? Should we even care that they darken these models through editing and lights and artistic choices? Also, like, we have yet to hear what the models feel about this. At the end of the day, they saw test shots, right? They saw potential and planned covers, but unless things have drastically changed, they don't see that cover for real, really until like we see that cover, because covers can also change last minute and like you have no idea. Trust me, I know, I've been there. So like, like, hey, they're also just seeing it too. For all we know, they could not be satisfied with the end result either. They posed and they saw what they saw in the moments and what they were shown leading up to the cover. But I think we should be able to appreciate this for the art that it is, but still be allowed to critique it. I don't agree with those who are trying to say that, oh, y'all just don't have the range. You just aren't fashion girly. The girls who get it, and the girls who don't. And you just shouldn't be critiquing it because it's just art. No, babes. And if you want to hold it up to this high standard of being art, then absolutely be prepared for it to be critiqued as art then. That's art, right?